It is time to make the sound to summon the stream. Let's actually turn that down a notch. Greetings, dear viewers. I'm Coil Quickcard, and welcome back to the Community RPG Maker Project. If you are new or happen to come across this, for more than a year, I have been slowly building a game in RPG Maker while trying to integrate as many ideas and suggestions from viewers, commentators as possible. Anybody is welcome to contribute to the project. All you have to do is catch the live streams and chat there, leave comments on any of the VODs or videos, or down in the description there's a link to our Discord. We can discuss the project there as well. Alright, so, morning Coles, good morning Aubrey! Happy Easter, everybody. 3 more days and then Champions releases. I have no emotional attachment to the release of Pokemon Champions, I'm gonna be honest. I have very little interest in competitive. I suspect that what is going to happen very quickly is that the meta for Pokemon Champions will end up devolving very quickly. And it will end up being a highly toxic community. But we'll see how it goes. You know? Maybe Nintendo has learned some stuff about making mobile games from previous experiences. Although, Unite, from what I've heard, not doing the hottest. But we'll see. God help them if it's glitchy, though. Oh boy, you do not want a glitchy platform for your official tournaments. Anyway, we are today continuing our work on Act 3 of the game in this big sort of swampy jungle area. We've got a few things that we are going to be working on today. I don't know exactly how much we're going to get through. I do plan on only streaming for a couple hours since it is the holiday, and I do have other plans. But we are going to design the next floor of the cat base and a little more exposition scenes. We need a few legit treasures into the cat base, including one new equipable item. The roster of Pokemon will expand over time, and that won't ever stop. Yes, I know you have a few Pokemon you hyperfixate on. I have no doubt that you will use them to the best of their ability, and that you will be very satisfied by their performance. And I wish you all the best with that. We're going to start work on another couple of enemies, the Pepsi Golem and the Pepsi Ghost. Design the top floor of the cat base with the teleporter. Honestly, that's kind of just tied into this one. It's hard to find a more toxic community than Overwatch. It really isn't. It is very easy to find toxic communities. We just tend not to go fling ourselves toward them for the same reason that we have, a mental block that stops us from sticking our hands into fires. We have also, thanks to a plugin that I had generated, the rain mechanic, the ability to summon rain in battle and have rain influence battle, is a thing that we can now do. I was able to make every individual part of the mechanic work without using plugins, But I ended up going ahead and generating a plugin for it specifically because it was just way easier to work with. The non-plugin system would have required me to have specific rain relevant events on every single map in the entire game, past and present. And I really didn't want to have to fiddle with that. But yes, we do have the ability to have Thatcher do rainstorms. We need to do some stuff. I think we can make it so that the damage formulas will be altered based on if a switch is on or off. So we can add a conditional thing to our lightning and fire spells. And we're going to do some initial map planning for the Pepsi factory if we have time as well. Is Thatcher based on Margaret Thatcher? Yes. Well, I wouldn't say based on her, but named after, yes. The character's namesake was indeed the abominable bitch herself, Margaret Thatcher. Alright, anyway, let's hop into this. So, last time we were up on this floor. Sure. So we need another template and paste. This is going to be cat base F5. All right. So the upstairs are in location 917. So first thing we want to do is tie those in. 917. There we go. Okay. I need to check this real quick. Is it possible to... just trying to Google this process. Okay. Here we go. I think this is the damage formula modifier that I am looking for. So on all of our fire and lightning spells, we're going to add a multiplier, which is going to check if switch which switch was it? Which switch am I using for the rain system? Switch number 238, yes. So that is correct. So it will check if switch number 238 is on. If it is, it will multiply by an amount. And if it is not, it will keep it stable. So this is the command for half damage that we'll put on fire effects. And this is the one for honestly, let's just make it a double. So this will be the effect for lightning effects. We can actually knock that out of the way pretty quickly. Yep, rain is definitely going to boost lightning attacks. So hopefully this will work. I mean, why not? I'm sure it will be fine. Lightning bolt. We're going to have to add this command to everything in the entire game that does lightning damage. And hopefully it works. Honestly, we can test it pretty quick with Thunderstorm. I just really want to make sure that this system works. Change skill. And we want to make sure Thatcher... Whoops. We want to make sure that Thatcher is holding the Staff of Thunderstorm, just so we can test this pretty thoroughly. Okay. So the first thing we are going to need is a control test. Alright, control test, Thunderstorm. Okay. Now we have seen the control. And now we will do this again, but after we activate rain. Ignore the test, it's fine. There we go. We have activated rain. It's still a little loud. And thunder. I don't think it was actually doing any increased damage, is the problem. It's also still way too loud. That I also need to fix. I need to turn down the volume. Here we go. Open that up with Notepad. Here we go. Volume way too loud on that plugin. That is not playing it at 5% volume. That is playing it at 10% volume. There we go. Okay. God damn it. I just closed my whole RPG Maker. I don't know how we make this work. I feel like it would be funny for some dog-like enemy to bite the rain. Your obsession with animals is on display. I have not watched Xavier Renegade Angel, but I have seen many, many clips of it. So I am familiar enough with the material. 9:17, since I closed this without saving, because I am a silly boy. Alright. So I want at least one more level on top of this as well. So we do want a floor 6. Floor 6 is going to contain the teleporter that goes into the Pepsi factory. The hunter became the huntered. The chaser became the choset. Alright. So let's put kind of like a summoning thing down. How do I want to build this? Doesn't need to be fancy or anything. That's fine. Or some kind of glowy thing I could use. Glowy things are always good. Got a lot of pillars. Let's actually move that. Let's not pretend that they built or conjured like a giant stone thing up here. We'll just put like a book there. And sure. You know what? Let's put some tiles on the floor. Everybody loves tiles. And then some more tiles around it. I think that looks pretty good. Okay. Yeah. Just like that. Boop, and boop, and boop, and boop, and boop, and boop. Just like that. To be fair, I feel like it would be funny if you used rain in an indoor battle, where there would be a chance for someone to come into the room and... It's doable. I don't really feel that it adds much to the project, but it's doable. Yeah, let's just go like that. Okay. I think that works. Let's have the walls come down a little bit more. And... What if I did something like that? Got Pokemon Essentials working for RPG Maker. Very impressive. Okay. I think that actually looks pretty good. We'll take the book off. Yeah, I think that's actually really good looking here. Let's have like a crystalline path that you can enter. Just like that. Now I just need to figure out how to change the sprites used by the Pokemon. I think this is cool. So we basically have like a little void area. That leads to the summoning circle in order to access the Pepsi factory. I think that's great. Is there anything else that's sort of worth putting here? Yeah. More library. Yeah, just like that. I think that looks great. So this will be like another library area. Okay. So then you will access this area from here. Location 5-4. So 5-4 will be right there. Changing sprites, expanding the decks for me is really important. I think that looks great. I really, really do. I think this looks fantastic. Let's go just a little bit further. Yeah. I like that. I like that a lot. Okay, so then on this floor, what do we have? So far we've had very kind of orderly areas. Let's actually do something a little different here. Yeah, why not? We'll just have like a different kind of room here. I think that's fine. This gives another area where the cat can talk to the player. So little choke points are always good just for scripting scenes. Anything that I really want to put up here? Not really. Honestly, I think it's fine if this is just like a place where minions can sleep and whatnot. And then we can have like little boxes for belongings and whatnot. Just like a little long box. I could just put, like, a treasure chest by each one of these, and you can open them up. Would you say that Cloud's Roost? No. If each of the main characters in this game played Minecraft, how would each of them play it? Badly. Let's make at least one of these... Let's actually make two of them mimics. I think that is fine. And let's add some real treasures as well. So this one's just gonna be some bottles of Pepsi, because why not? Okay. You found 3 bottles of Pepsi. Are the mimics freeloaders or are they like guards? Who's to say? There's just no way that that could ever be determined. So we got bottles of Pepsi. Let's add in armor. Let's put in Archmage's gloves. You found Archmage's gloves. Okay. Instead of the bottles of Pepsi, this is going to be 2 bottles of Pepsi Monster. Bottles of Pepsi Monster. This one's just going to be a bunch of bottle caps. We'll say it's like 5,000. You found 5,000 bottle caps. Okay. And then we had talked last time about a new thing to add. I know there was discussion about having a new shield. Did I actually end up designing the new shield? Actually, I did design a Fanged Shield. Is Frozen or something ice-related a status effect in this game? I think I have a Frozen... Yeah, I do have a freeze effect. Let's find the cap mail armor. Yeah, cap mail body armor. Sure. So we'll boost this defense up to 50. Increase the magic defense a little. Increase the price a bit. What is this? What is this piece of armor? I need some advice from chat. What is this heavy suit of armor that we have found? Make it out of dragon bones. Okay. This will be dragon bone armor. A suit of armor made from dragon bones. Okay. So this is where the player can find dragon bone armor. You found dragon bone armor. Cool. Yeah, jungle armor was 41. That's fine. Wait, isn't that just a general? Jungle armor. No, jungle armor does qualify as cap mail. Okay. Then dragon bone should be down here. This is where we keep our crafted armor. Is the ice pick ideal doable? It's definitely doable. But I don't really think I have any player skills that freeze enemies? Okay. So Ryu can inflict freeze. We don't really have anything for that yet. But let me actually make a note for that. When we get to Act 4 of the game, I've consolidated a lot of my notes. We are going to get our 6th and final party member, and it's going to be the young girl Temmie that we actually got, that we actually rescued back at the start of the game. Since there were suggestions like early last year, that Temmie should be a party member in the end. So Temmie, I've already decided, based on those suggestions, that Temmie's class is Dragon Slayer. One of her abilities freezes. And add the ice pick weapon that deals heavy bonus damage against frozen targets. Anytime Quartus is in, the difficulty is going to disappear completely. When we are in the factory, we will have a part where Quartus joins again briefly to fight off Skaven. So, and this time he has a drone. So, we'll have another quick run-in with Quartus. He'll have a drone. We'll fight Skaven. Then he'll leave again. Because he is, by design, far too powerful to ever be a permanent member of the party. Alright. So, we've got some treasures. We also did this. So I think more cat base exposition. The second ever suggestion I made. I think that's one of the problems with this project is that people will show up, throw out an idea, and realistically, even if it is something that can be integrated, it might be several months before we circle back around to a point where it would be relevant to revisit it. Quill, I'm going to tell you my headcanons for how the main craft plays Minecraft. Malter plays nothing but survival with no mods. Thatcher plays only with magic mods and is a master builder. I think they all just suck at it. Alright, next thing we are going to do... you know what? Let's actually circle around back to you, Aubrey. You've been absolutely infuriatingly and endlessly obsessed with animals from the moment you ever showed up here. So, let's start adding some animals. Starting with the beginning, we are just going to have a cat that kind of wanders around at random. And if you talk to it, it will say, meow. He'll say, meow. So there we go. Here is our first cat spy. Now Spire Town needs a couple cat spies. And this one's going to be like, hiss? They're doing their best, but they're not really good at it. How did you uncover my true... How did you perceive my true nature? Oh, wait. You actually thought I was a simple cat. And he will say, Nyan? There we go. Alright, so that's 2 spy cats. What about the contest you said last year, you know, the one that had a prize of you were designing a whole city? Yes, that's also a thing we need. If there is only one thing I'm sure about with this project, it is that it has increasingly turned away from the concept of being designed by viewers and more turned into me frantically trying to maneuver around people just throwing out whatever they happen to be obsessed with. Okay, so this cat will just be like, it's so damn cold. I mean, purr? Okay. And there's going to be one more here. So this one is the one that's actually going to teach Thatcher a spell. This one's going to be like, psst, hey, you. Magic Lady. And Thatcher will be like, who? Me? Yeah. Yeah, you, Granny. I tell you are a woman who knows the value of some good magic. And Thatcher will say, I've been known to dabble. I've got this sweet magical scroll on me. 200 caps, and it's yours. And she'll say, ooh, what kind of scroll? And he'll say, you'll have to shell out if you want to find out. Okay. So then we are going to have it say, buy the scroll. We have to set a variable equal to equal to the amount of gold that the party has. We're going to show choices. If you say yes to buying it, we add a conditional where if the bottle cap space is greater than or equal to 200. Alright. The cat will say, good choice, lady. I hope you enjoy it. And we decrease our gold by 200. I don't even know if I added the scroll or not. Where are my scrolls? Okay. It's going to be item number 79. And I'll buy, you bought a scroll of rainstorm. Okay, if you don't have enough caps, the cat will just be like, you broke as hell, lady. Alright, cool. And then if you say that you don't want to buy it, idea, this is where you get the rain. It's literally what I've said when I started designing this. This has been the entire purpose of this. Come back when you get that itch for some new magic. Okay. And once you've bought it, he goes self-switch A. And after you buy, be like, oh shit, I was supposed to be undercover. Forget I ever said anything. Okay, cool. Did I design a common event? I did not. Okay. So Thatcher learns this. Thatcher learned Rainstorm. This doesn't even say learned magic missile. Thatcher learned magic missile. Okay. And now let's fix this up. Okay. This is Rainstorm. It is magic. It is certain hit. It only targets the user. Thatcher summoned rain. Summon event, rain. We also need it to apply the null state so that it won't say that it has no effect. The MP cost we'll put at... screw it, just put it at 10. Conjure a rainstorm that increases the power of lightning spells, decreases fire, and damages slimes. And... sure, that's fine. Thatcher summoned rain, magic user, magic special. That should work the way that I want it to. We need another scroll. Scroll Rainstorm, which has the common event of Scroll Rainstorm. Teaches Thatcher the spell Rainstorm. Makes it rain. Okay. Well, I have a chaotic-ass idea, a move that's a long list of things it can do, and every time on use it'll pick an effect. I already have multiple things that essentially do that. We've got the Magic Hat, we've got Katasby's Swarm Call. The thing is, put yourself in the position of the person playing this game. Like, imagine yourself in that position. And consider honestly if you are going to be using those skills versus other things. That's what we have to consider. How... Okay. Now that we've got that done, I really do want to try and make this work. Okay. It's not really doing anything yet. I need stronger enemies to test this against. Sure, one of the Amogus is fine. Okay. Let's test this. Thatcher, Thunderstorm. Okay, so they were all right around the area of 200. Let's turn on the rain. And let's see if we change that. Rainstorm. Okay, rain is active. Let's make sure Thatcher doesn't die. At the end of each turn, while rain is active, it'll try to deal damage to slimes. Thatcher, I really... Oh. Oh. Okay, okay. It's not even giving Thatcher a chance. Because every time it's doing the periodic damage, it's counting as Thatcher taking a turn. Shit. I don't know how we work around that. I guess we just change it to the enemy takes an action. That's about the only thing I can think of to do. Damn it. If Timmy is a Dragon Slayer, would they try to kill Ryu? Yes. That is kind of what we've decided since early in the project. Okay, the rain attacked me. Okay, so we definitely did a different amount of damage. But it appears that it cut the damage down to like a third? I do not know. I do not know how that works. Okay. So, first, we need to change the rain damage to attack all allies. Okay. So we definitely have some kind of an effect. So what if I change this to 10? Also, I think this guy is just a little bit too much. Let's just put a mercenary in there. That's fine. Quill, can I see Timmy's sprite again, please? I am busy. We will get around to it when we are done trying to troubleshoot this. I want to keep focusing on this for as long as I can. Okay, so between 200 and between 230 and 270. Got it. Yeah, the bunch of shurikens, that's fine. Rainstorm. Let's make sure Thatcher stays alive. The rain fix worked. Thunderstorm. Okay, so bigger number is definitely making it smaller. So if I put 0.5, will that multiply it by 2? I cannot think of any reason why it would be inverting the damage alteration. But I'm also not, you know, a programmer. So this might just be something very obvious that I simply am ignorant of. Thunderstorm. I mean, that's definitely more damage. What if I change that to 0.2? Okay. So this should be a lot more. Okay. 0.1? I have no idea why it's working like this. I truly do not. But as long as it works, it's not really important that I understand why it works. I think this skill seems complicated. Yes, Sudapon, welcome to the stream. It is all very bizarre. Whatever. I don't know why that's the value that it's bringing, but at least it functions. So now we just have to add this to every lightning elemental skill in the entire game. So yeah, shouldn't take too long. There's honestly not too many of them. At least not ones that we're actually using. We're not using Thunder Weapon. That's not a thing. Storm Breath we are using. Shocking Fangs we are using. And now monster skills. Monster skills. Lightning Bolt. And Lightning Burst. And Storm Breath. Yeah, that's fine. All right. And now we have to add the opposite. We have to add a weaker version for fire attacks. So everything that does fire damage, like Venom Flame. Fire, 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 detonate, yes. Burn, yes. Fire burst, yes. Fire bolt, yes. Conflagration, another version of Firebolt, More detonations. Oh my god. I feel like there's something here that's not quite right, but we'll just ignore it. If it doesn't break anything, it's fine. None of those deal fire. The Flamer does deal fire. The Baja Blast does not. Burning Fangs does. Screw it. Technically, it's a drain ability, but we'll just add it. Fire Breath. Yes. Heavy Metal Bash is fine. The Furnace Shot is weakened by the rain. Meteor is fine. Those abilities are fine. Zenith Nadir. That's all fine. Explosion. Do that. Burst. That's fine. Flame 3. I'm pretty sure nothing in the project even uses this, but we're going to make certain that we do not miss any, and then I will catch up on the chat. That all looks fine. Fire Breath. That should be enough. Okay. I love how stereotypical Punch-Out is without it being racist. They have an Italian character called Pizza Pasta. Yep, in the arcade. They also went nuts for characters based off a cheater in Punch-Out. Why does a smoke bomb deal fire damage? Because it's a bomb. You're focusing on the smoke part, I'm focusing on the fire part. It's an explosive. Aaron Ryan has probably one legal move tops, even though he was in Super Punch-Out, he was the most legal by far. Gabby J, the first cheater in Super Punch-Out, is also a cheater. They're all cheaters. Every single one of them. Okay, that is perfect. We should now have the rain, and we should now have all lightning and fire skills in the game adjusted for the rain. Next thing, adjust enemies to react to rain damage. Yes, we need to make sure that any enemy that would reasonably be affected by rain damage is affected by rain damage. The cats will actually take 50% from rain damage. Aubrey, I'm sure you'll appreciate that. We're going to make sure that all cats can take a little bit of rain damage. No. No. The wolf pack, I really don't think so. The molten slimes, yeah, they take a lot of rain damage. Rocks do not take any rain damage. Lava squids. Lava squids are going to take rain damage. The feral fissure felines are going to take 300% rain damage because they are a fire enemy and also a cat. Okay. Snow Beast, Rogue Elementalist, Arctic Bloom, Cold Crazed Combatant. Red Dragon will take a little bit of rain damage. The well-rendered zombie... Do I want zombies to take rain damage? I think it's okay if zombies take a little bit of damage. The zombie flesh puddle, on the other hand, it's more of a slime. It'll take some extra damage. Chimpanzee, Anaconda, Canopy Catboy takes 50%. The blood puddles, they take rain damage. The domination fungus, no, that's fine. I think it's fine for zombies to take a little bit of rain damage. I think that's fine. The reanimated dog, yeah, that's fine. Flesh spawn, they can take a little bit of damage. Spell book, I mean, it's a book, so yeah, that can take some rain damage. Living Flame, you absolutely take damage. Phoenix, you absolutely take rain damage. Unburning Bones, you absolutely take rain damage. Gross Rock. Zalter's Zite, you can take some rain damage. Mimic, no. Tortured Soul, no. False Hydra, no. Head of Flame, sure, why not? The Withering Heads are basically supposed to be zombies, so we'll have them take some. An angry, drugged Catman can take some damage. Gecko, Quapo, Tree, Bacteria. Bacteria's fine. We can do that. The Pepsi Pained Pussycat, again, some weakness to rain damage. Boop. 25% rain damage for the virus. The Root Beer Slime is going to take some rain damage, but not much. The Fragmented Feline is going to take some damage. Okay. We have now adjusted all the enemies that react to rain damage, so that is fine. Let's adjust the wording for this. Conjure a rainstorm may damage some enemies. Empowers lightning skills, weakens fire skills. There we go. Can the magma slides turn into obsidian and insta-die? No. Katasby is a party member. Shouldn't he also take rain damage then? No. And if you'll give me a minute, I'll be able to come up with a lore reason why. Ah, he's half bat. He's half bat. He has gained the bat resistance. Alright, moving on. Next items on the agenda. A Pepsi Golem and a Pepsi Ghost. So, let's start with the living crystal. And let's find what we want to use visually for the Pepsi Golem. That could be a Pepsi Golem. I mean, I could just go super hard and make this the Pepsi Golem. Security robot might work, honestly. It can kind of look like he's made out of aluminum cans or something. Ugh. Is there anything better for a Pepsi Golem? Pepsi Golem. I mean, I could make this the Pepsi Golem. That is so stupid and so over the top and so unnecessary. We're doing it. This is the Pepsi Golem. Let's take the copies of those abilities. Put that here. Okay. So, obviously, this guy needs to be pretty tough. Let's put both defenses and magic defenses there. Bottle cap or 1 is guaranteed. Bottle cap or level 2, we'll say is like a 1 in 3. You know what? Let's do it like this. You're guaranteed to get 1 bottle cap or 1. You have a 1 in 2 chance to get a bottle cap or 2. And you have a 1 in 5 chance to get a second bottle cap or level 2. I think that works. We're going to make the gold reward pretty high. We're going to make the experience reward pretty high. Put another 0 in the HP. And let's find some monster skills. Compulsion. I think that's fine. And Body Slam has a pretty regular rate as well. Let's test the Pepsi Golem. And this is going to be Pepsi Foes 04. Yep, that hurt. Bottle opener. Okay. Yeah, I think he's fine. Honestly, I do want to buff up his attack some more, just so he's like a lot more dangerous. That should be fine though, honestly. All right. So we now have a Pepsi Golem. Important thing I need to do here now, I have to take this event page and make sure that all 160 encounters in my entire game have this. Because this is how the rain damage actually works. So, unfortunately, we need to check all of these. And then we will go and start working on the Pepsi Ghost. So far, everything is going pretty good. That's fine. Okay. Oh, god damn it. Shit. Okay, so I just checked 29 things. All of them are wrong. Because we have to force the enemy to use the rain damage. Otherwise, it wastes Thatcher's turn. So we have to delete all of the old rain pages and add new rain pages to every single encounter in the game, while being very careful not to delete a wrong page. Delete. 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 Paste. Delete. Paste. Delete. Paste. Delete. Paste. Delete. Paste. Delete, paste, 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 delete, paste. This one, delete, paste, 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 delete, paste. All right, we've done 40 so far. Optimization-wise, who do you think benefits the most from general weapons? Probably Malter. A lot of Malter's abilities are very support focused. So he is going to just be attacking a lot of the time. Delete, paste, 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 delete, paste. Those are references. Delete, paste, 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 delete, paste. We are now halfway through. Delete, paste, delete, paste, delete, paste, delete, paste, delete, paste, delete, paste. God help me if I accidentally delete one of, like, the important things that's already in these troops. We have decided so much. Seems you have to do a lot of editing for a single skill. Yes, hello, B-Switch. It is true. From time to time, things are added into this project which require a substantial degree of sort of proofing a lot of things that have already been built. It's a lot, if I'm being honest. It really is a lot. But fortunately, this is not a regular occurrence. And while it is a bit tedious, it is very simple. It does not have much of a chance of, like, breaking anything. So it's all right. Besides, we're getting a lot closer to the end. This is definitely not the most stuff I've ever had to fix during this project in one go. Sometimes you just make a mistake and something that you copy pasted everywhere has to be fixed. And that's just the nature of it, you know? But that's okay. So, yeah, ghosts, they start by getting the intangible skill. Elena is still the only one who really has any way to deal with intangible. I mean, I guess you can always flee the fight. We could give a warning that there are intangible enemies ahead. I think that's a good idea. Alright, we are almost done. Boop. Okay, so maybe we're a little further off than I thought, but we're fine. You don't need to deal with an enemy that only appears once. This is just going to be a random encounter for the Pepsi factory. Oh, are you talking about for doing my fixes? I do have a Coliseum that I've built, and any troop that I future-proof means that I can just shove it into the Coliseum later. The chances are that by doing this, I am saving more time that I would otherwise do later when I inevitably copy-paste something. Oh, nope. Copied the wrong page there. Copy that page. Delete that and paste. It is kind of a weird thing, but to be fair, I've only been at this for like 6, maybe 8 minutes, so it's actually not too bad, all things considered. Whoops, that is 2 instances of rain, don't need that. Alright, we are up to event, or troop number 130. We need to go up to 160. So we are just about done. I mean, the bosses that have already been defeated. Those are probably going to be used again in a boss rush, though. Not to mention, we've just made it so that the Rainstorm ability is accessible as early as the 3rd town. So everything that we have past this point, or everything we have past that point, legitimately can potentially have rain active. Storm Dragon did not have a single other ability on it. That is genuinely interesting. Alright, we are up to 140. Delete that. Paste that. Paste that. Delete that. Paste. 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 Alright, we are almost done. We are on the last few right now. Yep, there's the root beer slime. Good old root beer slime. Building that was fun last week. And perfect. Okay. All troops have now been updated. We have now designed the Pepsi Golem. Perfect. Let's turn on some more music. There we go. Oh, right. And before we got into this, we were adding the cat spies. We are specifically not going to have any in Wallachia. We will say that there were spies there, but they were all killed by the False Hydra. I think that's pretty reasonable. Alright, so now let's add a spellcasting enemy. Why don't we just take the Tortured Soul? We'll make this like 150. A little bit less gold. I think that's fine. We're going to give them a very high magic attack. Up their HP a bit. Up the defenses. Up that. Not gonna lie, I don't get why Game Freak made the most glass cannon type that ever glass cannoned the ice type, yet they made like 3 that fit the type and everything else is slow and bulky. I've said it before and I will say it again. It's because Pokemon is a progression-based RPG and not every Pokemon in every area is intended to be the best. Some are simply intentionally worse than others, and I think that's okay. So now we need a Pepsi Ghost. Pepsi Ghost. Who makes a good Pepsi Ghost? Pepsi Ghost. Pepsi Ghost. Pepsi Ghost. Pepsi Ghost. Pepsi Ghost. Whenever you look at a Pokemon and you think, why is this Pokemon bad? The answer is, it was intended to not be great. Ooh. What about this for a Pepsi Ghost? As someone who is designing for that, I do understand that, but how do they make the majority of the ice types fundamentally goes against how they designed the type itself? Or, alternatively, given that Pokemon has been around for 30 years, the ice types do exactly what they are intended to do, and what you don't like is that what they are intended to do is different than what you want them to do. That is also a possibility. After 30 years, at some point, I think you just have to accept that that's the way they're meant to be. I'm not a big fan of it either. I love the ice type, but I accept it for what it is. I think this is good for a Pepsi Ghost. Let's see if there's a better option. That would be interesting. The Fire Spirit? Is there anything else? Anything else that works for a Pepsi Ghost? That's a dancing zombie. No. I mean, that could be a Pepsi Ghost. That could be a really scary Pepsi Ghost. That could be a Pepsi Ghost. Ooh, a Zhangxi? That could work. Something else that's stupid, the Ice type been here since Gen 1 has less Pokemon with the type than the newest type, Fairy. You know what? Let's go with this design. I like this one. Okay, so this is going to be the Pepsi Ghost. So, what do I want the Pepsi Ghost to be able to do? We're going to take this Ice Bolt and make a copy of it. We're going to take Rock Shatter and make a copy of it. Oh, that's a really good idea. Okay. We're trying to take a copy of Feed on Flesh. And we're going to take a copy of Hypnotize. Curse All? Ooh, that's a good idea. Where do I have Curse? Yeah, okay. Great idea. Okay, so we're going to have Hypnotize. Instead of Feed on Flesh, we are going to call this Drinks Blood. We're going to call this Matt. I think it's Matt and MDF. Okay, MDF. Perfect. That is all fine. We're gonna have this be Pepsi Element. We're gonna have a much higher variation. And we will call it Pepsi Burst. Creates a soda explosion. I think that's fine. And then Ice Bolt, we're just going to change that to Pepsi type damage, add more variation on it. And so-and-so launches a Pepsi projectile. Sure, that's fine. Pepsi Soul should be an invisible enemy. Ooh. That's... Ice-type Pokemon Gen 1 and 2 are very rare, or rather practically non-existent. Jinx, Lapras, Dugong, Cloyster, Articuno. Are there any other ones I'm missing there? Whatever. Okay. Pepsi Foes 05. Okay, so some fights will have an invisible Pepsi Ghost. That we can do. When turn 0 at the start of the battle, we are going to apply to the thing here the intangible ability. Okay. So, how the hell did I make this work? Okay, that is fine. Now, if the condition... Okay, the moment it happens, if the enemy Pepsi Ghost has the state of intangible remove, can we force the ghost to use the skill to shield itself? That would be incredibly annoying. Okay, Malter, we're going to replace you with Elena for the purposes of this. With the Sword of Kings, which can remove intangibility. We're going to put her in some real good armor. Okay. Does this work? So we really shouldn't be able to hurt it. Okay. Okay, the ghost becomes more solid. Okay, so that does not work. Is there some way I can make this work? Well, first off, Pepsi bolts are the most common. Pepsi bursts every other turn, a little less common. Turn 1, every 4 turns after that. might use the hypnotize. And then just at any time he has a chance of using the feed on flesh, the new feed on flesh. And then sometimes he will unleash the curse all. Okay. And this is just going to be renamed in the database to drink blood. We all know how a rocket launcher works. You point it in a direction. When you point it in another, since there's nothing left to the other direction. Exactly. No, I think that's fine. Let's say that this guy is weak against fire. And also weak against anti-undead. And also weak against light. But the curse is something he is likely to use if he is targeted by fire. So you can kill him quickly with fire, but if you hit him with fire, he'll respond with a curse ability. Okay. This is a very interesting ability. Okay, so defense is too weak, health too low. This is supposed to be a threatening enemy. Ugh. I think that's good enough. I think that qualifies as the Pepsi Ghost thing. So we're not going to get to the cat-based exposition today. So next stream, let's do a little planning. Next stream, more scenes at the cat base, more planning and initial design for the Pepsi factory. We want to add the Act 3 white gorilla scene. That's on the to-do list. Yeah, I think that's fine. So, we're going to have a few minutes before I end the stream for today. So what we are going to do is we are going to start planning the Pepsi factory. So, the way I have decided to do this is that we are basically going to have a large factory floor. And then within that factory floor, we are going to have a series of basically booths. And then we are going to have like conveyor belts running between these different sections. And then each one of the boxes is its own interior space, which is going to have like, you know, different things in it, encounters, items, treasures. So the factory floor itself will be very cluttered. And most of how you get around it is going to be by riding the conveyors or by doing some sections where you can access a small part of the factory floor outside of the different sections. But basically, it's going to be a series of stations. And I think that will be good for a very unique dungeon experience that I think will allow us to actually build out like a factory without it being completely and utterly overwhelming. So the first section that we are going to have is, this is very important, the Rift Essence extraction. This is where they're actually taking the raw substance of the Pepsi out of the rift. At some point, we are going to have swamp water infusion. Apparently my sister is playing Uma Musume. I'll have to give her some shit about that when I'm done with the stream. There's also going to be bottling, labeling, bottle cap creation or synthesization, packaging, storage, distribution. Packaging, storage, distribution. So, in terms of areas, obviously distribution is going to be the last step on the line. Storage. It makes sense that storage would then lead to distribution. So, packaging has to happen after bottling and labeling, which I think we can merge into a single step. So bottling and labeling feed into packaging. Bottle cap creation is going to be a side thing that feeds into bottling and labeling. So what other steps do we have? What are the other steps that go into creating Pepsi in this universe? We are extracting the primordial soda out of interdimensional rifts. At some point, we are infusing them with swamp water. What else? What else goes into the process of creating Pepsi? Harvesting the souls of the damned. We have established that Pepsi is basically built by like this weird collective of drones. So I actually like that a lot. So we are going to have drone soul additive. Okay, so we have drone soul additive. What else? What else? Part of the drone soul additive means that we need a drone corpse crusher. So we have a big thing We have drone corpses, which are processed. I don't think Crusher really works well. I think we can call this drone corpse processor. Okay, so drone corpses get processed, and then that gets moved into the drone soul additive, which is added to the production line. So I suppose the swamp water infusion can be like an early step. Yeah, we can have the chemical dump step for sugar, caffeine. We can sort of fit that here in the process. Does this work? Does this work for the various stations that we are going to have in our factory? I think this is a very workable thing. They won't all just be lined up like this inside of the map, but this is just to give us like a kind of like an image of how we are going to arrange it. I think this is enough steps. I think this is a very respectable map. Funny how the swamp water and the damn souls aren't the most unhealthy thing in this. Exactly. Okay, so here we have our map for the factory process. So we're just going to throw that into the community project. We'll call this the Pepsi Factory Guide. Alright, and with that, I think I'm satisfied for today. We got through basically all the things that I wanted to do, except for, like, making some more scenes. We can work on that next time. It's fine. Oh, right. Another important thing. Walter Veit, the vampire, he is going to live... He lives in the factory. He works at corpse processing. So we are going to have Walter Veit, the vampire. That's going to be a fun thing. And I don't know if we'll get to that next stream, but we'll add it here for the things here. This with Quartus joining again for a fight, that's also going to be in the factory. I think that is great. I think we have a fantastic project going on. I think we've got it all under control. I'm actually super excited for this project moving forward. This is going to be so much fun. And yeah, that's going to be it for today. So thank you all so much for being here. As always, I'm always very appreciative of having people here to participate. It really does make this project very special and very special and very fun. Did I schedule my Banjo-Tooie stream, my next Banjo-Tooie stream? I think I did. Yes, Banjo-Tooie tomorrow morning. I'm going to be doing Cloud Cuckoo Land, continuing to seek 100% in Banjo-Tooie. The current daily series on the channel, well, to be honest, the next video is just one more day of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles arcade. But after that, we are actually going into Warcraft 3. I'm really excited for Warcraft 3. On Saturday this week, I will be starting my new Saturday series. I am going to be playing Ogre Battle 64. It's actually going to be a ton of fun. I really hope that you'll join me there for that. It's gonna be really enjoyable, I think. And then Sunday, of course, a week from today, we will be back with more RPG Maker with chat. So thank you all so much for watching. I will see you all in the next one. It is time to make the sound to summon the end of stream, and I hope you all have a fantastic Easter. Wow, 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 wow.